Global Namaste to everyone. Today, I'm truly humble and delighted to speak about digital fasting as a healing practice, and alongside our esteemed panelists and my favorite too. So, let me briefly introduce to them. So, Francesca, she's the brand ambassador of Hong Kong and CEO and the founder of health and wellness brand. It's called Philosophia Botanica, and she is a dedicated Chinese medicine practitioner and educator. So, and Mr. Hilton Livkins, he is the brand ambassador of Vietnam and the general manager of Via Cruises, Ha Long Bay. And the best part is he's a visionary and passionate about environmental wellness and sustainability. And my name is Ram Chatterjee, and I'm the brand ambassador of Thailand. So I'm going to do a moderate with these two fantastic panelists, which I have with me. So my heartful gratitude to our founder, Dr. Rekha Chaudhary, for her inspiring vision and her invaluable contribution across the 78 nations. So, on 10th December, if those of you do not know, the the world is celebrating the World Digital Detox Day with 78 countries. So we are growing every year. So before we start, since it's a health and wellness subject, I would like to start with a small prayer. So this prayer actually is a universal peace prayer for health, well-being for everyone and everything in the world. So can you just do a namaskar and keep your eyes closed? So it's a peace mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Paschyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhabe Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhabe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you. So, are you ready? So, my first question is to Francesca. Francesca, please let me know that which digital habits feel most draining and how do you notice their impact on the well-being, on your well-being actually?
Great question, Ram. I would say the mobile phone, 100%, is constantly with us, 24/7, always present, notifications always on. Compared to what it used to be in the past, we are always available. Once upon a time, you would work Monday to Friday, or you'd take the day off, or a Monday off. Off means off. Off no longer means off, whether you work for a hotel, for a spa, you work for yourself. I'm an entrepreneur, I work for myself. My children often tell me off, Mummy, your phone is always in your hands. My answer, I have to. This is my business. So a digital detox, personally, I think it starts with us, and then it's our job to create awareness with our own children since a young age, but it has to start with us. We know we have to be the one somehow implementing that detox and teaching ourselves, when do we draw the line?
For you, the mobile phone is the great distractor, right? And the draining factor.
Uh,
Helton, would you like to add anything? What's your
Yeah,
take on it?
yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, we are victims of our own success, and unfortunately,
Very well
um,
said. Uh-huh.
the more successful become, the more we become dependent. Um, Francesca mentioned that she has her own business and that she needs it,
Right.
and it's really it's a terrible situation to be in because we all actually need our phones, and yes, we've become communication freaks, which in a way is very productive in certain times. But I think as we progress into this conversation, we're going to realize that, are we just answering emails, or are we scrolling for an hour on things that have got nothing to do with anything that we are interested in, but we become interested in? It's a very, very difficult thing to answer. I think we need the tools. This tool is incredibly effective to help us do our businesses. And you mentioned hotels, which I'm in. And yes, it's a 24/7 because things happen. And if you know your phone is on, you are not at peace. You are not in a well-being state because you know that phone can ring or that message can come in at any time. And that is very dangerous. And we can delve deeper into that. And unfortunately, that's pretty much where we all stand today. From a professional perspective, if we take it into a social perspective, that's another whole avenue as well. But it's not an easy question to answer because, yeah, we're stuck in this cauldron and then we don't know how to get out.
Sure.
We are
So
very
my,
much so. No,
yes,
please go
please.
ahead. No,
So
go
my,
ahead.
so Francisca, my second question. So if you can help me to, people, like what challenges do normally people face when practicing digital fasting, and how can they overcome them? So what would be your suggestion? Because a lot of us, like as Helton mentioned, that it's so much of destruction, but it's need. It's as a burning need for us that we have to have a phone. So when you're talking about asking them to for digital fasting, so please enlighten us that how they can do this.
Again, this is a very, very difficult question to answer in a way. I try to implement that starting with myself and my teams. It's an addiction. I find myself suffering from emotional fatigue, actually, when I'm not near my phone. Emotional in the sense, what's happening? Do I know what's happening in South Africa? Do I know what's happening in Italy? I run the company in different countries. Do I know where my children are? Bringing back the social together with the professional. It's awful. It's terrible. But I agree with Hilton. We are living in the era of technology, AI. Everything is evolving. We need to evolve too. But I think we need to find a common ground. We need to find a balance because this is definitely not healthy. So in terms of an emotional detox, what I tend to do, for example, with my family on Sundays, I can't say that it would be like a 24 hours detox, but we try to be active. I'm married to a South African, so we're very much into hiking, swimming. The children might not be as much into it, but living in Hong Kong is pretty easy because of the beautiful nature. So we try to implement movement as medicine, put the phone away. I am guilty though. I must say every once in a while it's like, guys, hold on. I really need to answer to that email. So this is something that I'm trying to do to myself. And that to me is also emotional fatigue. They're constantly thinking, I am in nature. However, am I missing out by not answering to that email?
I feel I have something to add on this because we are not saying that we are not going to use the digital devices because we cannot function it. So we would like to use it, but what you can do, unnecessarily browsing. Normally people start browsing unnecessarily hours after hours. So that is not going to give you anything other than headache, anxiety, depression, and feeling low and drained out. So even if you stop that unnecessarily browsing, even if you say to yourself that, okay, in the morning after getting up, I'm not going to touch the phone for at least for start with a few minutes, then start with 1 hour. And before going to bed, if you decide, okay, I'm not going to see because the blue lights, it's actually very harmful. It comes from mobile phone. It delayed the melatonin release, and therefore you won't get sleep at night. So these are the things. Even if you take a small step every day, I think is going to be a great detoxification, and you feel more energized, more refreshed, and more like a up to the life. It's not that you're going. You are more of a real life than the real life, right?
Very
Elton,
much.
anything for you? You want to add?
Well, I can go on for a long time, but I know you have other questions. You touched on the 1+1+1, which is something that the World Digital Detox Day, what we're trying to achieve. And yes, you're 100% right. It's not a big deal to spend 1 hour off your phone in the evening, or 1 hour off your phone in the morning, or 1 hour when you go to lunch, or 1 hour a week, or 1 hour a day. So this is an initiative that we're trying to put across to the whole world. And I think it's a phenomenal first step where it's not difficult for everyone to do. I'll throw a statistic at you guys, which is very, very scary. Generation Z globally are spending an average of 9 hours a day on their phones. That is a scary statistic. That is a very, very scary statistic. When you consider that most of the people around the world are working on an 8-hour or a 9-hour shift on average, Gen Z are using their phones for 9 hours, and Gen Z are not necessarily working in a professional manner. That's a very, very scary statistic. And you mentioned that, people just scroll and look at their phone, and this is what's happening. And that is what's affecting people. When they go to sleep at night and they're lying in bed in a supposedly premeditative state, and they scroll through a phone and they find out that some famous Bollywood or Hollywood actor is getting divorced from his girlfriend because she was caught with drugs, and suddenly they can't sleep anymore. What's the story? And that's governing our lives, and that is something that we can control. And you're 100% right. It's not a question of us saying switch off your phone and stop, because those emails will still be coming. Those children messages or those business messages will still coming, but we have to find a way of managing it in a better way, and not creating this whirlwind inside our minds, which is actually useless, because it's not going to change anything.
And I foresee another issue, because nowadays people are more and more dependent for each and everything on the internet. Even any information you need, instead of reflecting yourself, instead of trying to find the answer within yourself, you always depend on the internet, ChatGPT, AI, everything. So your brain is not getting utilized, you're not getting function, you are limited amount of percentage you are using. So I'm scared that if you do not move for half an hour, you can feel there's a numbness in the hand. So imagine 24 hours time, your brain is not generating new ideas. You are not getting food for thoughts to the brain. You are continuously depend on the information from outside world, which is effectively less utilization of brain can be dangerous.
Absolutely, and especially for young children, starting at a young age, all the way to teenagers and so on.
And imagine if you have to survive without phone, you cannot function. You had no idea, because your whole being is with the cell phone and the internet, and you will have no idea if something goes wrong in your life, how to fix it. You will always find the phone to fix everything, but that's not the way our life is designed, unfortunately. So that is what I say. It's a great initiative, and people like you, and you are motivating and understanding the situation to the world. I think the more and more things are happening, we need to be more active. So Hilton,
Can I quickly jump in before you ask the next question?
Sure.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate here, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree. The world has changed. Let's face facts. When I grew up, I didn't have ChatGPT. I didn't have the internet. I went to the library to look for something. And I have children as well. And yes, you mentioned that their world revolves around the internet and the information. But if I give you an example of my children, my son is asking me things I have no idea what they are. My son is asking me questions about things that never came across my eyes when I spent 12 years at school and then another 6 years at university. And these things he's finding on the internet. And then he's delving deeper into it with ease, with a lot of ease. So he's finding out information, or they are finding out information that is a lot more than we had when we were growing up. But again, going back to the point of our whole digital detox concept is, how do you manage this? You mentioned that if the internet stops tomorrow, what are these people going to do? And that is a phenomenal point, because when we were growing up, we could still go to the library or pick up a book. But if the internet does stop tomorrow, this whole Gen Z are going to literally be stuck, because they don't ride skateboards, they don't ride motorbikes, they don't go outside and ride, they don't walk in trees, they do it all on the phone. So it's very interesting to look at it from that perspective, is if tomorrow someone pulls the switch, we will have a lot of people that will be completely blind, completely blind.
It's true,
Absolutely.
Hilton. But coming back to the initial conversation, for me, it's like, don't just take it away from them, show them
Mm,
another way. So I have to
correct.
force my children to come on that hike, just being in nature,
Mm.
re-energizing, whether they like it or not, it is affecting the brain. Unfortunately, I mean, we can only but create awareness here, but it starts at home. We will need to kind of guide them
Yes.
through and
Mm.
learn along the way with them as well.
So there is no denial that, the internet has given us many things. We cannot, even today, we are using the internet to reach out to the
Yeah.
world. So there is no denying factor. So this is an irony. But what we're trying not to excessive use of the internet, the cell phone, because it's damage to your health, and it is scientifically proved that how much it's damaging, and you are getting isolated. Your anxiety level is increasing. You are fully dependent on the screen. There are a lot of people, they do not know how the real life is. So they feel, even they go to outside, they are always on the phone. They are always doing something. So they don't live the real life. So we are only wanted to address that. And so that is what it bring me to the next question for Hilton, that, how can digital fasting be integrated into a modern routines without feeling restrictive?
Mm.
One of the things I've done in the past couple of hotels that I've worked in is I've taken away telephones from meetings. Put it in a basket at the door or turn them over, joke that I'm going to sell your iPhone if it rings during this meeting. Now, in reality, I hope none of the people that I work with are listening to this. In reality, that's a bit dangerous, especially in a hospitality environment.
Hmm.
If there's an emergency call for the executive housekeeper or the front office manager, and we're sitting in our morning briefing, we may have a problem on our hands.
Yeah.
Although I always teach the team to delegate. If you're coming to the morning meeting, there should be someone else in charge. So you don't have to know that someone just paid their bill. It's not going to change your life. So the first thing I do is I get people to switch off phones in meetings, because people don't listen to the meeting if they're looking at their phone. Ram is going on about this most inspirational wellness concept, and we're going to do meditation, and we're going to hike around the forest, and like he does all over the world. And I mean, I'm not even there, and I'm inspired. And then boom, I get a message from the owner going, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to come to, and we can go over the budget numbers. And I have lost
Hmm.
Ram. I am thinking about this budget in 14 days, which has got nothing to do with what's going on right now. And Ram is busy telling us about this beautiful environment around us. So, boom, no phones in the moment. Sit, have the meeting, and communicate, directly with people. So that's definitely something that I've done in the past, continue to do, and try as hard as I can to get people to force them to just switch off for that moment. And, that message will still be there in a half an hour.
Absolutely. I
Very
think,
much.
a lot of things, like people send an email at evening, at midnight, which is not important email at all. It's just an information. I mean, these are all the organizations should, come, and especially the senior bosses, why to send the mail like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to see you at 3. Anyway, I'm meeting tomorrow morning. So I can always send you. But some people, what I feel, the work is their life. That's why they make others' life also horrible. So if you start enjoying your life, if you give, then you probably will not win. But work is most important. We cannot survive without work. So I'm very much. But if you make your work is a complete life, then you are not only ruining yourself, your family, plus your rest of the world also. So you need to have some kind of boundaries where to do, what to not. Good. So Francesca, you can answer this question. With everything moving today is online, right? So
Mm.
even education, how
Yeah.
can children learn to keep a healthy balance with technology?
This is a really tricky one. My youngest is 8 years old, and it's a challenge. I love books. I love libraries. I grew up, my dad was a massive reader. I had to have respect for books. Now,
Hmm.
every time I propose a book to my children, it's a battle. it's a battle because the school is not helping me out. I don't have anything against schools. I mean, it's important, but I think the schools are taking it to the next level by going over digital. Yes, to evolution, but we need to find that balance. So when I bring a book out at night and I want to read a story, I don't want to hear, Mummy, you can do it on the iPad, because that breaks my heart. So again, for me, it starts at home. And there must be some form of equilibrium balance between home and school. It cannot be digital 100%.
I think it's definitely our responsibility as not only fitness professionals or the older generation. We like Star Wars. We're the older generation, you know, the good side and the bad side. But I think it's definitely our responsibility to let this new generation know that there are two sides. And yes, one side is good, and it's fine.
Yeah.
You can find out information, but your example about books is actually a very good example. Last night I was walking around a Christmas market in France, and there was this little girl holding her father's hand, and they're walking around, and she's just very young and bubbly, and they walked past a old bookshop, and the guy was selling old, you know, and she goes, Daddy, you know, what's this? Can we go in? And the father just like, no, it's not important. And for me, it just hit exactly what you were saying. It hit me home like, okay, so that generation is just never going to see those books. And that was quite powerful. I was quite shocked.
We can change this, you know, like I've heard people saying to me, books smell, they get molded with age, with time. It's so much better to read on the iPad. And I'm like, well, you can change the book, you can buy a new book. But I don't know. I think, again, it starts at home. We have to implement this at a young age to find a
Even,
kind
you
of
know,
balance.
some before in the hotel industry, people used to give a sketch pen, the drawing pencil, everything. But now it's everything moved to an iPad. So it's a something. It's like somebody who's sensible definitely can make a change, because it's very convenient. You know, another thing, what I feel that like a mother is I would say everything for a child, right? But you will see the mother is giving the cell phone when she's feeding her or giving some food, or because the kids is not going to eat anything without the phone. That become habit, and they becomes, if you take the phone away or iPad away, they will be so violent. So that is what we have, and mother has created this. So maybe they didn't realize that no mother will do such thing, but they didn't realize just because it's a convenient way of giving the food. And when you eat food without mindfulness, you are just wasting your time. You know, you will be eating too fast or too slow. You'll be eating less. You will not be mindful. After having meal, you feel like I had nothing. You know, sometime when you read books and then you think somewhere else, after 20 pages you realize, oh, what happened? I finished this 20 pages. You will not realize. The similar thing, it happened when people they eat with the mobile phone. So they don't get a nutrition absorption, nothing happens. And no mindfulness, weight gaining possibilities are there. There are so many distractions. So and this
That's why
question
it's
is,
about,
is
So,
open for anyone. Yeah, please.
sorry, Rama, I'm going to interrupt you again because you hit on something super important there. Mindfulness eating.
Right.
It's a timeless thing. It's definitely mindfulness eating is not common. If you find yourself in an environment with a group of monks, or if you trained in that element, or you have that experience, you'll
Right.
learn about mindfulness eating, and
Right.
it's phenomenal. But in today's society, we are a rushed eating society. I know when I was growing up, my parents always used to say, you eat so fast, you don't even enjoy your food. What's the point? You're just gobbling it down, which is a very, very small kind of mindfulness eating. But I think a really good answer for me, or a takeaway from just the first 30 minutes that we've been talking about, if we could teach people to appreciate food and eat in a mindfulness manner, like it has been done and still being done, would definitely tick a lot of boxes in terms of digital speed, in terms of technology, in terms of not concentrating. I think that would be really something that I might add to my next list, from no phones at
Cafeteria.
meetings to no phones in the cafeteria. Although
Yeah.
the cafeteria is supposed to be a place where people can be happy and let loose and enjoy their time and not. So it's a difficult one. But I think mindfulness eating could definitely be something that we could all look into a little bit more.
The food is a medicine, we all know that, if you take a food as a medicine, because what happened is just two practices. Just take the food and just keep your eyes closed and thank the person who has cooked and thank the person who has cultivated the food for you. And then your entire mind will change and then you will able to enjoy the meal. You can taste, you can smell, you can feel, everything. But if I'm eating, but my focus, my all the hormone secretion also will not be done. Your digestion will not take place because it's all chemicals is not released because you are not tempted with the food. You are not loving it. Your focus is on the phone. So that's a horrible condition. Like, even the people who sleep with the phone and who eats with the phone, it's a two super dangerous thing. And this can be avoided today itself. You don't need to do any rocket science to do that. So I hope those who are listening to us and they will practice and they will feel that the life is can be so beautiful. So anyone you can answer this question that what emotions surface when you disconnect the digital devices for a period of time? What do you think? What kind of emotion surface will when you disconnect from digital?
Fatigue. For me, it's fatigue. I realize that the fatigue
Absolutely.
takes over because you're so active. As a Chinese medicine practitioner, I can tell you, we live in such a young, fast-paced society. You don't
Sure.
realize the same with eating, the same with exercises, dealing with your teams, your children. I find that as soon as I put my phone down and I disconnect, I'm tired. The brain all of a sudden is like slowing down.
I think you said it so right. Someday even we do mistake. Being an ambassador, being an advocate of the digital, we do sometimes scroll. And then after, because we are aware, I say, oh my God, why am my head is, because now we are not used to it. We can feel it. Another thing, what I feel is like, even in the when you're having a meal together with the family, you will see that common picture. Everybody is on the phone, and only the mother is or whoever is serving the food. Apart from that, everybody is on the phone. I think that needs to change. And I think in a home, I find it very, I do not know how the people is going to take it. You should have like in airport and all the areas, you have a separate smoking zone. You should have a screen zone. So you want to use the phone, go there, use and come back. But no phone on the dining table. If you can just do the small things, because it's not very convenient or standing using phone unless you are sitting and hunching and relaxing. So you can use it for a long time, and also it can damage your posture for a long time if you're holding in the same way. So we should have a screen zone at home at a certain time, that this is the time you want to use the phone, go to the screen zone, and then you come back. I think that is going to be very helpful, right?
That's a great idea.
Boundaries.
Yeah. Actually, I thought of asking many other questions, because maybe one more question will go, and then because I think it's getting too long, I don't want to hold you. So, in what ways can digital fasting support mental health and reduce stress?
In every single way, just detaching yourself from that phone, from the computer, from the everything, you're already doing wellness to yourself. I am well, just not being in front of a screen. I must say, Hilton, before you say anything, I have a young lady next to me. My teenage daughter has been sitting not far from me, and she's been shaking her head on a few comments, and she's been nodding a few comments. Shall we bring it in and spice it up and ask her a couple of
Where
questions?
is she? Let me
She's
say.
right next to me. Hi.
Oh, hi. What's your name?
I'm Lily. I'm Lily.
Hi, Lily. Welcome.
Hi, Lily.
Tell me.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to the conversation, and I don't want to intrude or anything, but as a teenager, I'm 15, so a lot of the things that I do are on my phone, my education, my friends, my social life. It's all on my phone, and I'm a little ashamed to admit it, But after listening to the conversation, I just wanted to ask how, well, I mean, I think essentially what I'm asking is how would it be possible? Because at the end of the day, it sounds so easy to do a digital detox, but like I said, my life is on my phone. So I just wanted to ask, how would it be possible to really do a digital detox for people of my age, and make it effective?
Wow.
Let me give you an example. Firstly, thank you for joining our call. We're honored to have the people we're talking about in the call.
Yes.
Yeah. It's easy to talk, but we're not in your shoes. And my example is going to be exactly that. When I was growing up, if I wanted to get information about motor cars, about hiking outdoor, I would go to a shop that had magazines. Okay. We didn't even have YouTube, believe it or not. So if you went onto TV, you would have to wait for a channel that portrayed that information that you were looking for, unless you went to a library. But we had, and I noticed here in France, they still have them, is places where they sell magazines. So you go into the shop and you'd pick up a magazine about cars and you read about cars. So you would spend maybe 15, 20 minutes looking at that, and maybe you would buy it. Now, in today's situation, you would pick up your phone and you would start scrolling or even type in car magazines. And before you know it, 4 hours later, you found your information about car magazines, but you also found out a world of other useful and useless information. And 3 hours later, you go off to do your classes or your homework or anything. So you actually lost 2.5 hours because it was just in front of you, scrolling. We all know that. And that's the way the business model works. So unfortunately, it's not your fault as the generation who's got so much information in your life on your phone, is that it's thrown at you in such a way that you just keep scrolling and you just keep finding out information. And that's why, there's this crazy statistic of 9 hours on the phone per day or whatever of young people of your age. It's because it's thrown at you and you cannot control it. And then it just goes way beyond that. If you're wearing a Nike shirt and you type Nike, then you just get Nike things. And if you talk about Amsterdam because a friend went there, then you just get things about Amsterdam. And 4 hours later, you read about the mountaineering or the car, whatever, but you got all that other information. So it's very difficult. In fact, we have to create an anti what's the word I'm looking for, algorithm that only takes what you're looking for. And that's the difference between you guys and us. We walked into the shop, we walked out. Our detox didn't need to, because you guys walk into the shop by switching on your phone, and 3 hours later, you walk out, because there's so much information being given to you. So it's not an answer to your question, but it's a reality. Yeah. And that's why I said in the beginning, we are guilty, we're prisoners to our success. Because even us within the business, we want you to look at our adverts. We want you to be on there as long as possible. We want you to like, we want you to do this. So we, in our business models to promote and gain business, we are actually pushing you to stay online. So it's very scary.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, well spoken. I think Hilton has given a very good insight. What I am going to see as a solution, there is no doubt, again, I'm saying that internet is our good friend. How you wanted to maintain that friendship, the relationship is within your hand. It's not that, like people like us, we are going to talk about in this kind of forum, but unless you understand, now you have to decide that, is it important to find an information while eating? Is that important? Or your food is important? Try to find in anything and everything what is your objective. If your objective is to eat food, then eat mindfully. Don't use the phone. Number one. Number two, before you are getting to bed, are you studying? Are you reading? You are checking something. So hours after scrolling, what you are getting? You are not getting anything. Rather, you are getting frustration. Number two. Number three, even sometimes, suppose you are using the phone in some class or something, or it is real education. So do not look at the screen if possible. Keep the video off and try to look at this thing and do some eye movement. Exercise like up and down, move the eyes sidewise, move the round clockwise, anti-clockwise, blink your eyes. You know what happened? If you constantly look at the screen, your eyes will have a maximum strain. The water will evaporate. It has to be wet. Eyes are always, that moist effect should be there. But looking at the screen, this will evaporate. Your eyes will get dry, and that will cause you so many headache, blindness, many things. So I don't want to go. So you can take a break, blink your eyes at least 1 minute. Look at the greens. Look at something which is soft, and then shift your mind. This thing can be done. And I'm not saying do not use it. Use it, but use it in a balanced manner.
You see, you said something very interesting. With this young lady, we often have little tantrums, let's call it like that. She's been studying for 2-3 hours, and then I find her on the phone. And she's like, Mommy, I've been studying for 2-3 hours on my laptop. And I'm like, but now you're on your phone, scrolling, messages, blah, blah. That's the balance that we need to find. She's got a point. Now she's socializing. For me, it's like you should go and socialize outside. But not all the kids and the teenagers will be outside like we used to do, Hilton, running around playing basketball or cycling or skateboarding. I mean, this poor child, yes, she's been pushed into every single activity. That's why she doesn't like her parents.
So Lily,
But
I hope you are convinced that this solution can be taken. What's your take? Are you okay with the answer?
I think, yeah. I mean,
Be honest.
I think, yeah. It's when I bring it up to my friends, because I'm friends with a lot of like-minded people like myself, and I know that I'm very conscious of the time that I spend on my phone, and so my friends and I, we talk about this, and I think it's easy to say, and it's also easy to do. I think with small little methods like stopping for 5 minutes and just taking, like you do 1 hour rotation, then 20 minutes off your phone, like a rotation like this. I think it's easy said and easy done. So
Right.
it's made so hard, said, but it really is easy. And I think I need to start implementing this. So
Absolutely. And
I
try to
will.
blink your eyes, always blink your eyes. Like suppose I'm on the screen. Now I'll just move, and then, you do this blinking. So that will help you. It is actually you're balancing your system. So you are
Mm.
regenerating. So it is not constantly looking at the screen. So take a small break and see what is necessary, what is unnecessary. And you are the best judge of your life. No one else can teach you. But if you are aware, then you will realize that your life is much better, because you are driving your life. No one else is driving. So nobody will know what you are going through. So if you may have to go to 2 hours on the screen, be it. But after that, what you do is makes a huge difference. So thank you very much, Helton. Just one advice or anything that you would like to share with our viewers.
Be more active. Be less screen time. Be more active. Be physically active and less digitally active.
Wonderful. Francesca.
I think it's about slow living, embracing the philosophy of slowing down, and maybe bringing more teenagers into the awareness. Perhaps having some of the teenagers, our children or friends of friends, to be ambassadors, not just us coming from the era of dinosaurs and so on. You see, this was not planned. She
Right.
was just sitting in there, and I think this is the people that need to talk to the younger generations as well. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Thank you
And I
very
hate
much for
being
that.
right.
Yeah.
100%.
So it was really, I have learned a lot, to be honest, and it was great chatting you through. That's why you are my favorite. And yeah, I would say that, people are free to do what they want. Technology, internet is our good friend. Ensure that we maintain the friendship, relationship with them in a very friendly manner, so that do not over anything you do over, like exercise. If you do over, it is dangerous. Eat over, it dangerous. Use technology, dangerous. So you know what and when to stop. So enjoy your life, and be joyous all the time, and try not only first you correct yourself, and then implement at the home, and then implement with the friend circle, and then move into the community. Thank you, Francesca. Thank you, Helton. It was
Pleasure.
such a
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure talking to you all.